Anyway, let's talk about a topic that you actually used to talk about quite a bit, and I still do, begrudgingly. Kind of been moving on for the most part, but once in a while there's a story, and it's like, oh, I can't help myself. I gotta talk about this one. So, yeah, Uber, the company that technically built this channel. So, as we all know, Uber and Lyft have been struggling during the pandemic. I think Lyft struggled quite a bit more. I think them not having a food delivery service really came back to bite them in the butt. I think no one's going to deny that. Uber, with Uber Eats and then their purchase of Postmates, they were a little better off to, weather this storm. Well, anyway, because of the pandemic and because of safety regulations, a lot of drivers didn't drive for Uber much last year or Lyft. But now we're getting vaccinated and people are getting back on the road, but the drivers aren't coming back. And there's a lot of reasons why they're not coming back. Some of them still don't feel safe. Some of them basically found jobs that paid much better. Not a particularly difficult thing to do, in my opinion. And for some people, and this might sound kind of scummy to you guys, some of them are on unemployment benefits. And frankly, the unemployment benefits pay more. And I mean, that's not a unique problem. That's been a problem for pretty much every job out there for a long time. There's a lot of jobs where the
benefits in a lot of states pay way more than Uber does.
Oh yeah, more. Oh yeah. Well, almost anything pays way more than Uber does. I mean, even the people who put their earnings on display, it's like, unless you're also putting the expenses up, don't trust that number, because you are not keeping that whole number. Well, now Uber and Lyft are basically throwing money at drivers to get them back on the road. And this is something that Uber and Lyft does when they need drivers. They shower them with gifts and bonuses and maybe even a tipping option. And you would think that these signs would show that drivers have more power over the companies than the companies want to admit, but whatever. But here's the thing. This money is not going to last forever. It's very temporary. And once they have the drivers, of course, they're going to take it away. And it just brings up the question once more, are these really solid business models? So here's what the Financial Times has written. Habitually early, Amber, who lives in Erie, Pennsylvania, recently gave herself an hour to travel 6 miles to her COVID-19 vaccination appointment. What I didn't bank on, she said later, having missed it, was a complete shortage of both Uber and Lyft drivers. I tried for the entirety of the hour with no luck, and this is, by the way, why they're giving the bonuses. Such experiences have become common in the U.S., the rideshare companies admit, posing a significant problem as both attempt to mount a post-pandemic recovery. Drivers have been slow to return to the platforms for several reasons. Observers say, including the recent arrival of government stimulus money and continued concerns over health and safety. Many former rideshare drivers are also likely to have taken up new jobs in the 12 months since demand crashed because of lockdowns. Now, faced with a complete lack supply to meet the rebound in passengers, because, trust me, it's much easier to be an Uber customer than it is to be an Uber driver, the companies are resorting to, quote, throwing money at drivers. Uber announced on Wednesday it would spend $250 million on what it described as a one-time stimulus package to increase incentives for its drivers in the U.S. Now, I'm going to stop there because I think there's an angle of this that is not being discussed in the media, and I think only former Uber drivers can really comment on it. I mean, here's the thing. Uber and Lyft, for that matter, historically don't throw money at people unless, they need something from the drivers. And I remember the last time Uber gave these massive bonuses, they were giving them 10 years ago when they were basically trying to establish their presence in LA and make it more common. Here's one of the reasons I think they're actually throwing this money and it's not being discussed. Because Uber has recently taken away some key features from the drivers. They gave drivers the ability, in California at the very least, to see their destination before they picked up the passenger. They also got to see how much they would make before they accepted that ride. And of course, the big one was the price multiplier. Basically, drivers could list their own price. It was very much like Sidecar. Does anyone else listening to this remember Sidecar? Am I the only one? Anyway, so yes, I do believe Uber is throwing these bonuses out there because there probably is a shortage and they want to try to get drivers off the couch and back into their cars. But I think the other reason they're doing this, and they're just not discussing it really, is that, they of course pissed a lot of drivers off by taking away these features. Although no drivers do not quit enough for Uber to ever backtrack on these things, but there's probably at least some drivers quitting. And I think this is kind of more of a get them back because they know that Uber drivers are frankly gullible to a certain extent. You just throw a little money at the problem, or at the driver, as they say, because drivers are a problem for Uber. And basically the drivers will do what you want. That's why a strike, even though it would actually be very effective for Uber, and they've kind of proven it with stories like this, never lasts because all Uber and Lyft have to do is turn on the surge in prime time and the strike is over in 5 minutes. Aaron, am I missing something about this, or do you agree? What's your take on this?
So those of us who are old school drivers, like, this isn't something fantastic. This is just how it used to be. so they're not doing something great for drivers. They're just not screwing you guys as much as they were last year. I mean, incentives for a lot of us, that was where we made like 20, 30% of our total income. So, and then they took the bonuses away, and then everyone's like, well, I'm not going to recruit for Uber for free. And they stopped doing it. And now they're bringing it back. So that's not that big of it. And I don't really care. But I think if you look at it from a larger perspective, a lot of low wage jobs are having trouble getting people to work. McDonald's it's just released a press release about it, that they can't find people to work in all of their stores. There's a labor shortage. And it's a twofold problem. One is most people who are low wage workers are not old enough or don't have the health problems to receive a vaccination in their states. And they don't want to risk their lives to work 40 hours a week at minimum wage. I mean, that's almost an unlivable wage anyway. And now they know they can't get kicked out of their house, at least until the end of the year. They're getting a little bit of stimulus money, and why risk your life until you're vaccinated? So that's one problem. And the other is, there's a lot of like under the table stuff you can do, right? You can work at a construction site, under the table cash, and you can still collect your unemployment benefits. So why would you lose that until that's going on? So until they pay more to make it worth risking your life as an unvaccinated person, no one's going to work for these low wage jobs anymore.
And it should be noted also, since we're on the unemployment thing, Uber and Lyft drivers getting unemployment money is a very 2020 thing. They probably will not do this again because technically I think you're technically employees, but officially you're classified as independent contractors, so you don't qualify for unemployment. The issue was that the pandemic was so devastating that basically an exception was made for 2020. So this is probably not coming back, and a lot of people know it's not coming back. So they are basically milking it for what it's worth. Now, another thing I want to point out is, like, unfortunately, and this is probably because of the churn, all the newer Uber drivers, they don't realize that this bonus, they're really getting played. They think, oh, Uber's being nice. They're giving me a bonus. I'm going to take advantage. But you're really getting played because the bonuses are going to be very, very temporary. I would be surprised if they lasted more than a month, to be honest.
Yeah. All that being said, though, if I was already onboarded on the platform and I was already vaccinated, I mean, if there's not enough drivers, you're going to make more money. There's going to be more surge out there because that's just how the platform works.
Right.
So,
right. But it is I kind of encourage.
It's going to be temporary boost in your income, but that's going to be temporary. But if I still drove and I got this big announcement that Uber didn't have any drivers, I might think about maybe turn my app on, to be honest.
But there's a big difference between people who are already on the platform and they're basically just reaping the benefits. And because unfortunately I see it on Facebook anyway. I kind of go incognito on these Facebook forums, and boy, how many people have said like, okay, they're going to break with their unemployment benefits, or they're going to leave this job because now the bonuses, they're making more per hour than what they're making at their job. Of course, I don't want to tell you how to run your life. I can only encourage, and I'm just a YouTuber, so what do I know? But I would personally say, please don't do that. This is not going to last.
I mean, I have health insurance now, so I'm not going to work for Uber ever again. My job is sweet. Like, I'm not going to even tell you guys what I do because I don't want you guys to figure out how awesome my life is right now. But just having health insurance is, for me and my family, is enough to never drive for Uber again.
Well,
Rideshare Lisa just said the same thing I said. Look, I've been doing this for 3 years and I've never been so busy. Yeah, see, I'm not surprised. They can't find drivers to get on the road. Go make your money. Just realize it's temporary.
Yep. Now, Donnie says, why would you recommend people breaking the law in a live stream? Really, it's like, we didn't recommend
I did not recommend working under the table. I'm saying people do.
Oh, yeah. No, we're
two different things.
Yeah, that's kind of like a weird expectation to have. Like, that shady things happen, but you shouldn't talk about them because then you're part of the problem. No, I actually think I'm part of the solution by talking about shady things people do, but whatever. And as Lisa, by the way, this is one of the advantages for those of you who are listening to this on Spotify or iTunes is that when you do this live on the YouTube channel, sometimes you can be part of the show. But Lisa says, but the bonuses are nothing really because of what they have been paying us for years. It's back pay. Yeah. And Uber always winds up ahead of you. And, I just got concerned when I started reading those Facebook posts where people were talking about like, oh, well, not that I typically encourage people to stay on unemployment because you know what? I had that roommate. I think we've all had that roommate that lost his job, got on unemployment, and then basically sat on his butt all day and didn't do anything while you went to work and tried to make the money. It's like, those people annoy me when they rely on unemployment like that. But look, in Uber's case, the only reason I'm going to say don't break your unemployment for this is because yes, it does pay you more. Also, Uber doesn't play by the rules, and
also be safe, man. There's no reason to risk your life. You don't got to.
Right. You don't.
If people would rather take unemployment benefits than get a job, that is an indictment on how low wages are in this country. That is not an indictment on somebody trying to live. Because if the overall goal is to put food on the table for your family, then it's a no-brainer. You're going to go where the most money is. And if $600 a month is more money than you're making on another job or whatever, then why would you? You know what I'm saying? It's a no-brainer to me.
Right, and that $600 is more than what Uber will pay you. You see those screenshots where it's like,
you don't have to worry about it. Then people will go back to work.
Right.
You want to know why people don't work at McDonald's right now? Because they don't want to do it for $10 an hour. It's too risky. If it was $30 an hour, I bet you some people would get some McDonald's shirts on and put the little name tag on and go start pushing buttons.
Oh shoot! I'd take a part-time job.
So it's wages are a market just like anything else. It's a labor market, and these companies want to pay pre-pandemic prices for that market when we're in a post-pandemic world. Everybody here knows at least one person who got the coronavirus, and a lot of us, myself included, know several people who have died from it. And so when it's a matter of life or death, you're not going to flip a burger at McDonald's for $10 an hour. That's stupid.
Right. It totally is. But anyway, folks, we would like to know, what do you think of these bonuses? And are they enough to get you back on the road or to recommend getting people on the road? We would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and flame responsibly.
And now then, and Donnie's right when he says that the problem is with these incentives, you're going to get too many people back on the street. That was always the complaint about the bonuses. And people would hate my YouTube channel. They'd say, your personal driver, you are screwing the drivers. You're recruiting too many people on the platform and you're flooding the market with drivers. Stop recruiting people. But no, I never did. I wanted the bonus money.